The wife done brought receipts.
Tonight, we have brand new developments in this ongoing saga involving allegations of an improper romantic relationship between Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis and Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade, who's helping to lead the office's prosecution of former President Donald Trump. A new court filing now claims to show credit card statements showing Wade bought Fani Willis airline tickets to San Francisco and Miami.
Okay, we just seen that. So let's say it's actually true that these two were actually doing a grown-up and Fanny was getting her cheeks clapped. Fanny, cheeks. You get the reference. I'm going to say, so what? So what they were doing it? It doesn't really mean much, right? I mean, who cares if these two grown consenting adults were doing what they were doing at non-business hours behind closed doors? It's nobody's business, right? If only we had a legal professional that could explain to us the ramifications of why this is such a big deal.
Ramifications here.
They are serious, and yes, they can have real ramifications, including the possible replacement of the entire prosecutorial team, which means Fani Willis's district attorney's office to have another prosecutor from another place ultimately prosecute this case, or even the level of dismissal, which is what defendant Mike Roman is asking. This is no laughing matter.
So, you heard what Fani Willis had to say, that he has impeccable credentials. And she basically said on Sunday, look, I hired 3 attorneys. They all have great credentials. They're all friends of mine. I think highly of them. I don't know why you're targeting this one guy. I mean, does he have the professional background that would qualify him for this? And for a case like this, a RICO case? And if he does, then so what? Then what's the big deal?
Well, there's a very big deal. And it's whether or not he has the particular credentials to prosecute a case or administrate a case, which is apparently most of the work that he has been doing behind the scenes in an administrative capacity. He does not have RICO experience. This is a very complex RICO case, but that may be irrelevant if one of the other prosecutors has RICO experience. The big deal here are 2 things. You can have 3 special prosecutors. They can all have impeccable credentials, or they can have good enough credentials. We are looking at 2 issues here. Number 1, was there an improper relationship between these 2 people? That is, were they having a love affair before he was hired, or even after he was hired, and that relationship was not disclosed, which it should have been, if in fact there is a relationship. And secondly, and perhaps far more important, it's really the question about the money. If in fact Fani Willis is paying her lover, if he is her lover, a fee, which is quite substantial. I mean, $650,000 to his law firm over a 2-year period is not a small amount of money. But are they both benefiting from that money? Mike Roman alleges that they went on trips that were ultimately paid for by the money, not that it's exactly the same dollar, but by the money that Nathan Wade had made while working for Fani Willis. That could be considered fraud. Not only might it be considered fraud, or what we call honest services fraud, if this also involved the fact that there were federal funds going into that district attorney's office, which certainly could be the truth if it could be proven, then you're also dealing with the fact of a federal crime. So you might have a crime here in terms of the money. You might simply have, which is not so simple, a conflict of interest based on non-disclosure. If you look at it this way, Nancy and Anne-Marie, if you had a female CEO of a public company and she decided to hire her lover and make him her number 2, and that they were both traveling together and having a relationship on her money and his money, don't you think that CEO would be gone in a nanosecond?
All right, crew, we just got finished seeing that. There are some serious allegations being flown around right now. I told you guys I was going to follow the story, so I hope you can keep up with me, right? So Fani, again, she was getting her cheeks clapped by her special prosecutor who has no experience. She paid this man $600,000 American dollars because they jet setting around the country on the taxpayers' dime, all trying to prosecute Donald Trump on some trumped up RICO charges. This is serious. It's so serious that a judge has actually decided to weigh in. Check it out.
A judge has now set a hearing over allegations of misconduct involving the Fulton County, Georgia DA overseeing the election interference case against former President Trump. A lot to this story, so I do want to bring in Steve Harrigan with Fox News, joining us live now with the latest details. Steve, good morning. As I mentioned, a lot to this.
Certainly, Josh, and keep in mind right now, it's all allegations. No evidence has been presented yet, but that could change in the coming weeks. Right now, the district attorney, Fani Willis, who is in charge of prosecuting former President Trump for election interference in Georgia, she is accused by one of the defense attorneys of, one, hiring her married lover, two, paying him more than $650,000 as a prosecutor, and three, that the two of them used some of that money to fund their vacations. Now, the judge has set a hearing for February 15th to look at these allegations. That hearing might be televised, and it could lead to a range of possible outcomes, including throwing out the case against Trump and 14 others entirely.
Been filed, if these allegations are true, could lead to a whole host of things that the DA doesn't want to happen. She could be removed from the case. She could be held to have a conflict of interest. The case could potentially be dismissed if it's so structurally unsound that it amounts to a violation of due process.
All right, guys, we just got finished taking a look at that. Did you hear? Did you hear that the case is actually scheduled for the 15th? Which is, hold on, let me check. Alexa, when is Valentine's Day?
Valentine's Day will be on Wednesday, February 14th, 2024.
You can't make this up. You can't make this up. Oh, I feel like a gossiping female right now. So the lover's trial is the day before Valentine's Day. I wonder if is Fani or her lover going? Oh, is Fani gonna get her cheeks clapped before Valentine's Day? Y'all write it down in the comment section and let me know. All right, let's go ahead and get into some of these comments. One viewer says, every case she has filed, including Trump's case, needs to be reinvestigated, either dismissed or refiled by another office or at least another prosecutor. But that won't happen. You know what? I actually think you're right. We'll kind of see where this goes, right? I hope the case is dismissed because it's all trumped up charges in the first place. Let's look at a few more comments. The pastor that let her get up in front of the pulpit to defend her affairs is grossly misled and misleading God's children. I can get down with that. The pulpit should have been no place at all, none, right, for her to come up and air her grievances out to make her look good for a press conference, right? That's basically what she had. She had a press conference, in the pulpit. No place for that. That pastor needs to be reassigned. Or, you know what? Let me just say reassigned. I'll leave it at that. Let's get into a few more comments, right? One viewer says, disgraced, corrupt DA Fani spent our hardworking tax money on vacations with her boyfriend. Shame, shame, shame. Yeah, man, you're right. She was on vacation getting her cheeks clapped on taxpayer funds, on the taxpayer dime, to the tune of $650,000, American dollars at that. One more last comment and I'll wrap it up. The levels of corruption by this woman are enough to write a book. True that. There needs to be a tell-all book. I feel like this is the soap operas right now. Like, these are the days of our lives. It's only ramping up. All right, guys, that's all I got for this segment. If you enjoyed this content, you want to see more content like it, make sure you like this video, comment on this video. Most importantly, share this video. It's the only way that I know that we can force YouTube's algorithm to push this content out to other like-minded individuals. So until I see you in the next video, I am gone.